All right. Hello, everyone. It is November the 30th of 2021. We are on Psalm 60 today. This has a very long introduction to it. To the chief musician upon Shushan Edith, a victim of David, to teach. When he strove with Aram Naharim and with Aram Zobah, when Joab returned and smote of Edom in the valley of Salts 12,000. I wonder where these notes come from exactly. I wonder if they were like part of the psalm and they just left them in as notes. It's been a part of me that's wondered, should we even read these notes? But they're part of the Bible, so I guess they have to mean something. Um, but I didn't want to focus too much on them. You know, they're just there. They're just in the Bible. Again, I don't know where they come from. I don't know if that's actually part of the psalm. Like the little preface on the top of it. I know. What was the? There's a book. There's a book of the Bible in here somewhere where it's like the first couple of couple of lines of it are written by the son of the man or of the guy who supposedly wrote it. It starts out like, these are the words of such and such, my father, who yada yada yada, and then it goes into the first person of the actual guy talking. I don't I don't know I don't know how that works, but I don't remember which one it is either. But surely the notes have to mean something. I don't know. Anyways, this is Psalm 60. O God, thou hast cast us off, thou hast scattered us, thou hast been displeased. O turn thyself to us again. Thou hast made the earth to tremble, thou hast broken it. Heal the breaches thereof, for it shaketh. Thou hast shown thy people hard things. Thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment. Thou hast given a banner to them that fear thee, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Selah. That thy beloved may be delivered. Save with thy right hand, and hear me. God hath spoken in his holiness. I will rejoice. I will divide Shechem, and made out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is the strength of mine head. Judah is my lawgiver. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. That might be Philistia. I don't know. Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Wilt not thou, O God, which hast cast us off, and thou, O God, which didst not go out with our armies, give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through God we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies. Amen. When the Bible talks about places like this and peoples, Gilead is mine, or no, it was even before that. I will divide Shechem and made out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim is the strength of mine head. Judah is my lawgiver. And then it goes on to talk about Moab, Edom, and Philistia, however you pronounce it. Those are all places that it helps to research what they are and why why they exist. Now, I have not. I've done it for a couple of them. I've hit some places where I had to, look up where they were and who the people were. A lot of it is inside the Bible. You just, it's those little places inside, like, you know, Deuteronomy and Numbers and Chronicles and all that stuff, where you just, as you're reading, it's like, the king of such and such went down to such and such, and, inside of that city they did this or they did that. And it gives you an idea of who those people were. And then it always comes back to those people later on. And when you know the people they're talking about, you understand why they're saying, Moab is my wash pot. Like on its own surface, what does that mean? Yeah, Moab is my wash pot. Moab is it's a place where I wash my clothes. What? That's the things that you have to look up. I'm not going to do that here, but knowing the people that it talks about, the Bible that it talks about, um, especially in different places, whenever it talks about like the Moabites and the Amalekites and it helps to know who those people were and why. For instance, when God says to go kill, the go kill the people of the land and kill all their babies and kill all the other stuff, it helps to know who those people were before and why he would give that command. So that you won't just look at that and say, "Oh, he just told them to go kill a completely innocent batch of people." No, it's not. That's not what's going on there at all. This is what's happening here? Is telling he's telling his people to go take care of something for a reason. 9 times out of 10, it was always some kind of people that on the other side of the flood, he not only said that they were going to be cursed, but they were also giants. They were also part of this bloodline that started before the flood. Whenever it said that, the angels came down and mated with women. But a lot of people don't like to believe that. A lot of people have taken that from their minds, even though the Bible speaks like, "Oh, hey, this was always a thing." I know I've said that before somewhere. Is that when it is mentioned in Genesis 6, it's just like, "Oh, the giants were there." It's like they were saying, "Oh, they just happened to be there." It's not like it's any big thing. The giants just happen to be there. Or whenever Moses sent out the spies into the land of Canaan, and they came back and they said, we were like grasshoppers to these people. They were huge. They just happened to be there. Whatever. we saw giants. It is what it is. Or David and Goliath. By David and Goliath's time, I think they were more of a novelty. It was saying Goliath was such and such tall, and it seemed like more of a big deal because there weren't nearly as many of them as there were, in either Genesis or some of the other books, My wife is awake and she's moving around upstairs. And it sounds like. Okay. She's laying back down. All right, it's just weird. She's just like moving around a lot. I'm sorry, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. And the only person that should be awake in this house is me. And that's only because I have to wake up this early to be able to take my shower and do this before I have to go to work at 6. So. But it helps to know what these cities are and who these people are and why they talk about them the way they do. Because you've got Moab, the Moabites, the Edomites, the Philistines. It helps to understand who these people are. Now, as for the rest of it, O God, thou hast cast us off, thou hast scattered us. I did it again. Thou hast scattered us, thou hast been displeased. O turn thyself to us again. Thou hast made the earth to tremble, thou hast broken it. Heal the breaches thereof, for it shaketh. Thou hast shown thy people hard things, thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment. The Father gives us hurt and pain in our unrighteousness. When you make that deal, when you make that pact with anyone, and you break that deal, you break that pact, you expect consequences to come of it. And he has said several times, if you choose to come to me, then I ask you to do this. And if you do not do what I ask, then you will receive worse than your enemies. Because he is a jealous God. He is not a God to be trifled with. He's given us so much to be able to help us get through our life. And he does love us. He does want us to be there. To be there with him. But, oh man. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say I'm not going to have to do that again because I was going so well there. I was going so well there without my nose giving me a problem. And of course, hold on one more second. It's like that. It's like when you just get to a point where you're just like, oh man, my allergies haven't bothered me for an hour. Oh wait, there they are. What was I saying? Father loves us. He absolutely does, but he is jealous at the same time. He wants us to be with him. He wants us to be with him and listen to him and understand that his ways are far better than the ways of this world. He doesn't want us to suffer under the lies of this world. He wants us to follow the truth and to be better than this. There are no bad commandments that he has given us. There are no bad commandments. Some people may think that some of the commandments are a little bit sketchy. You know, stoning someone to death for doing something specific. And who's to say whether that's right or wrong? That's, God tells us that's what we're supposed to do. Is a lot of that stuff still relevant? I don't know. I'm not the one to talk about that. What I do know is that when he says, I command you to do this, and when we don't follow that, then he turns it around back on us, and we have to suffer for it. Because he makes it pretty clear. He makes it pretty blatantly clear. You follow me, or you will suffer just like everybody else. Or worse, I will let the enemy of you take you over. I will let you be ruled by, what's the one that he promised? I will let you be ruled by women and children. That you will lose strength to be able to fight for yourselves. That I will let loose all of the unrighteousness of the world upon you. And that there will be great weeping and moaning because of it. And I think a lot of that has to do with showing us how bad the enemy's ways are. Does that make sense? One thing a lot of people don't seem to understand when you read through the Bible, when you read through. See, the lie of society is that all of these ancient cultures, you go like the Romans and the Greeks and all these guys, the lie is these people had their crap together. That they were, perfect little city states, and, nothing was going on and everything was fine and they were all happy, and, they happened to fall in ruin because, bad men slowly turned their societies on their head, and then they fell apart. That's the lie. The truth is, these societies were all evil. Always. It's like everybody wants to hear that, the Roman gardens were amazing and everybody was happy and they were all drinking wine and they were wonderful, but they don't want to hear, they were molesting small children and, defecating in the streets, and it was, raping women, and, there was this massive slave network underneath it all, and that goes back through to the very beginning. Just about every culture had that. It wasn't like it is now, where it's behind the scenes. Back then, it was out in the open. They were just straight up doing it out in the open because that was what the leaders of that world had allowed to happen. It's like the stories that you hear of Sodom and Gomorrah. They the I think it is in Jasher, that the book of Jasher, where the guy the they started out as great cities. They started out as pretty good cities, but they wound up having, just one guy that got in there and started making a rule that he pretty much made the rule that, do what you want. And then it just turned into decadence, absolute decadence, which is interestingly similar to what's going on nowadays. But it was out in the open, and there was no punishment for it. There was more of a punishment for people that didn't follow the ways of the city. If you didn't want to follow the way of the city, they would mock you and take away all your things. And that's what people don't seem to understand. The lie is that everything was hunky dory and everything followed great. What the reality of it is, though, is that all this stuff was out in the open. It wasn't like it was hidden. And you hear some of the background mumblings of England, even up to the 1600s, 1700s. You hear about the decadence that they had too. It wasn't until the church's reformation of England that they started cleaning up their act. And that's where you have to understand that it was just, every society just falls into that decadence. Just every society, unless you have some kind of structure, some kind of reason, some kind of moral structure to it. But they all eventually just fall apart. And what God says is, if you don't want to follow me, then fine, you can go with them. And what they'll do is they'll straight up just hurt you and kill you, maim you, and take you prisoner and to make you slaves. It's either you follow me and you have some kind of law and order where you're not walking around naked in the streets getting raped by whoever the heck wants to rape you. It's you either come to me or you live with that. That's what it is. That's what it's always been. That's why it's love when he brings you to him and tells you to follow those commandments. Now on this side of that spectrum, this side of all that decadence, we've had these rules in place for, I don't know however many years, where we've pretty much not become like the ultimate decadence of the world, even though we're falling there slowly. Actually, it's pretty quickly now. And people will tell you that, oh, you don't need God to have morals. Everything's okay. No, that's not true at all, because the more and more you look around at the people that are now putting out the worst decadence whatsoever, they don't have God. They have a God, but they don't have God. They don't have the Father in them. They have that do as thou wilt lifestyle, which, I mean, do I have to say it? It's Satanism. Come on now. But they have that, they have that do whatever you want to mentality, where they just go out and just can be as decadent as they want to be. What was the line from the one that we did yesterday? Is where they come in the evening, they return at evening, they make a noise like a dog, and then they go around about the city. It's something you have to understand as you read this. Something that I was able to understand as I read the Bible, as I read Jasher, as I read Enoch, as I read all of these other ones, you let me put this away that makes sense. You don't have to believe in God to not see that these books are describing how decadent the world was. Because when you don't have God, when you don't have that moral compass, when you don't have the Father, you don't have the Spirit of righteousness in you, when you don't have that, all you have is yourself, your own self righteousness, your vanity is what the Bible calls it over and over again. This even said it right here. Where did it go? Let me find it. Hold on. It just said it right here. I thought it said it right here. I'm looking. I'm looking. Give us, give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. The Bible talks about it over and over again. The vanity of man, the the words of man, the vanity of what men do to help themselves. It's self righteousness, is what it is. It translates out to self righteousness. Maybe not literally, but it translates out to self righteousness. When all you have is love of yourself, then what you do is all you do is try to pleasure yourself, to take care of yourself, to trying to find the words. Save yourself. Give yourself the ultimate security and safety that you can so that you can live your life how you want in the decadence that you want because you have nothing. And my wife and I were just talking about this the other day. You have nothing to die for. Because you have everything to live for. You have nothing to die for because if you die, you just think that's it. It's done. It's over. Most people think they're going to be reincarnated and all this other kind of stuff, or they don't. Some other people think they're going to wind up getting their 40 virgins or whatever, and still others think some pretty crazy things. But most of it is it's vanity. Most of it is you get to either try again or you get some kind of reward whenever you get to the end of this. But they have nothing to die for, especially those that have nothing to believe in. It's because when they die, that's it. Their spirit, their soul just goes away and then their body just decays and it just falls away and that's it. And people that have nothing to die for and everything to live for, they're going to go out and find the best pleasures in the world. They're going to do the drugs and they're going to do the alcohol and they're going to go and sleep with all the people that they want to sleep with. And because the human body, because dopamine, we're finding out, runs out because of the law of diminishing returns. You need to find more and more exotic pleasures to be able to get you through. And that's where you start getting into some of this insanely decadent lifestyles. Some of these extremely crazy sexual perversions that I've seen too much in my life. I've seen way too much in my life. I know way too much in my life. And again, what I think I know is probably only what I see on the surface. Probably behind the doors it gets even worse. But when you start getting people like that will start doing everything in the world to pleasure themselves, that will do whatever they can to extend their lives, to take all the money, all the power, all the wealth that they can and build themselves up because they have no moral compass to be able to understand that you just need to take what you need and you need to give some to other people. When you have that, you start getting these societies where people will say, it doesn't matter if you go out and you defecate on the street. It doesn't matter. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll get to it later. It doesn't matter if you parade down the streets half naked, dancing around, swinging your swinging your penis around in front of small children. It doesn't matter because we want the small children to be happy too. We want the children to be able to learn this kind of decadence as well. We want the children to be able to grow up and have this kind of society as well. If there's even any children left, because again, that self righteousness could turn into something far worse, where it's either the pleasure starts consuming the little kids, or they start falling to false idols. And once somebody starts falling to a false idol, any kind of evil can happen. Oh, I have to sit back a little bit. Any kind of evil at all could start happening once these people start falling into idol worship. And then it becomes a nightmare because people that have no love for life will sacrifice anything or anyone in order to please a God, not the Father, that will please a God that will give them pleasure and unrighteousness and life. And that's the problem that we have today. I didn't want to say it outright, but that's the problem that we have today. And then everyone wonders why people are the way they are. They start asking themselves, how can people be so cruel and evil? And it's because they have no moral compass. They have no. They're taught at a very young age that you're nothing. That you just get one life. You get one life on this little mud ball that's floating out there. This insignificant little speck of a world floating out in this vast emptiness of nothingness. And that you're nothing, you're nobody, that everything is planned out for you because, science has science has planned out everything that's going to happen, everything that has happened. And there is no need to worry about being smart. All you need to worry about is enjoying your life. YOLO. Because, I mean, really, you only get the one life, and after that, you're dead. So you might as well just go ahead and do all the decadence now that you can and get it over with. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And hey, you know what? If you go to church on Sunday and if you pray really hard, you can take away all that. You can take away all that evil that you did the night before, and then you'll be clean enough that you can go out on Friday and Saturday night the next week and be able to do it all over again. Because it's okay. It doesn't matter. You're all right. That's why the book says you need to be washed in the blood of Christ, and you need to repent of your sins, and you need to follow the will of God. It's not about going to church and praying for one day of the week and then getting to go back out. It was never about that. Hurts me sometimes, man, thinking about this stuff. I know I ask I ask the Father all the time to give me wisdom, to give me understanding. And he gives it to me. And then I sit and I watch the I watch this world. I watch people do the things they do, and I ask him. I say, why? Why? What is this? Why do people do this? And he tells me. He tells me straight up. It's in the book. It's always been there. It's because they choose to live this way. Because nobody wants to follow him. It's almost like a nightmare of evil. And you take all that stuff that I said and you put it towards things that are happening in the world right now. And you understand why people are the way they are, why they refuse to listen to us, why they refuse to hear the truth, because they're so scared of dying, because they have nothing to live for, they have nothing to die for. They have everything to live for, but so that's why they're so scared of dying. It's because they don't have the truth. Is that you can be in a better place on the outset of this. You don't have to fall into the trap of the lies. The Bible even says it itself, is that because they chose to live in their unrighteousness, he will send them strong delusion so that they can believe the lie. So they don't have to hear the truth. Not exactly those words, but you get the idea. He sends them strong delusions so that they can live the lie because that's what they want. That's what they want us to live the lie. And there's so many people right now that are buying it so much to the point that they are more than willing to not only take away the life of those that refuse to listen, they are they are willing they're going to be willing at a certain point they are going to be willing to kill those people that will not listen because they are too afraid of dying. They are so afraid of dying that they are willing. I mean, this isn't just we can't it's not just about, oh, they're it's a eugenics program. They're just trying to kill everybody. It's not just about that anymore. It's you've got the people on top that want that. They've always wanted that. They don't need us anymore. They've got their money. They've got their robots to be able to do everything they need to do. They don't need it anymore. The families, the bloodlines, the people at the top, they don't need us. Yes, they're pushing it, but they've managed to get the people down here on this level. They've managed to convince the people down here on this level that anyone that goes against what they say is bad. Bad to the point that you need to take away their livelihood, their food, their housing, anything else that they do just to survive. And most of the people that are on the bottom of this that just want to be left alone. They just want to be left alone. They just want to live their lives. A lot of them are Christians, are God fearing. They want to be left alone because they have the truth. They have the truth of the Father in them, and they know that they can just go through life and be okay. They don't want to have the decadence. They don't want to have the vanity of living in this world. But the people at the top have convinced the people, the majority of the people on the bottom, that if you don't get rid of those that don't want to follow the rules, they will kill you. And if you die, you have nothing because there's nothing on the other side. That you will die, you will lose everything that you've ever had in your entire life. You will have no pleasure. And that's the other thing, too. We will take away every pleasure you have just because these people over here refuse to listen to us. And that's what's going on right now. That's the level of brainwashing that you're at right now. We will take away every pleasure that you have until the people that you know give in. Or because we will take everything away that you have because the people that you know that aren't following the rules aren't following the rules. If that makes sense. I know it sounds that's exactly what's going on. This isn't this is it is an old dirty trick that has been pulled on people for years and years and years. And a lot of people don't want to admit that it's not a real thing. Oh, that's just conspiracy nonsense. Well, no, it's been like this for a while now. It's because the lie you were told was that everything back in the day was all hunky dory, and that everybody got along really well, and that there were rules to all these things. And it's a lie. It's a lie. It's always been a lie. It's always been a lie. It always will be a lie. But people are just so convinced. People are just so convinced that it's the truth, and it's just not. It's a lie. It's just another lie. Everything is just another lie. My wife and I were talking about it. We were talking about how some people can't understand whenever you. Some people want to blame you whenever you try to talk to them, and they just want to be like, "Oh, it's just one of those guys that thinks that everything is a conspiracy." And she even said it. She was like, "That's because everything is a conspiracy. Everything you know is a rich man's lie." I think that's a documentary. Go find that. I think it's what it is. Everything you know is a rich man's lie. Because you've allowed them to lie. We've allowed them to lie over and over and over. And it got to the point to where people started believing it. What's the the line? If you say a lie long enough, people start believing it. If you say a lie long enough and loud enough, and keep repeating it, people start believing it. It's unbelievable. I didn't really get to finish any of this, but I need to keep moving. So, um, I don't know. We're not gonna go into it. If anyone has listened to me long enough, you know where I'm gonna go if I go back through these passages. So I think the Father has given me enough words to be able to put you on the right track to know what I was saying. Um, I have to put my jacket on because our furnace, once again, has gone out. So we definitely have to get a new one. That's just all there is to it at this point. Because the guy came and fixed it, and it took, what, 2 weeks? Was that what it was? Took 2 weeks for it to start screwing up again, and it's definitely something with it's what do you want to call it? Late ignition, which means the fire is filling up. Hold on. The where it lights is filling up with gas, and when the igniters actually hit, all the gas inside of the area is lighting all at once, and it's creating this big boom. And it happened to us 4 times yesterday. That was the original problem with it. Is as soon as I turned it on and I got it running, the very first thing it did is it popped so loud that it shook the whole house. And I said, "Whoa!" We had a guy come out and look at it, and he cleaned it, and he got a new part for it, and but it's still doing it. Um, did it 4 times yesterday. And the last one was the big one that shook the house, and I said, "Okay, well, I got to turn it off." I looked at the weather and I said, "Look, it's going to be between 30 and 50 degrees for the whole week. We can live with our space heaters for a little while." I said, but we gotta get this damn furnace fixed. I'm not saying the house we moved into is a money pit, but holy smokes. It's been one thing after another, and I am starting to lose my mind on certain things that I can't fix. Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Just one of those things. So, anyways, enough about me. Um, there's more I wanted to say about that whole Vanity of Men, about the people that have nothing to die for. That I know there's more I want to say about that. I run it over in my mind constantly because it ties in. It ties into everything. Because it is exactly what it sounds like. Is that people choose to live this way because they would rather live in their unrighteousness than hear the truth. I could keep going, but I need to stop. So I'm going to leave it there. But we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Um, just I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to get into it right now. I gotta start thinking about work. I gotta try not to yawn because I kind of felt defeated. But whatever. That's gonna work. Um, thank you guys for listening. Uh, man, 52 minutes. Ooh, I went long on this one, didn't I? Thank you guys for listening. You remember whenever these used to only be like 15, 20 minutes, and now it's like I'm laying down some heavy stuff at this point. That's the hopefully that's the word that you need to hear. All right, I shall see everyone later. God bless everyone. Take care. As always, read your Bible. Get into it. Get down into it. Get down into the Word. Ask the Father for wisdom and understanding of the Word, so that you can find the truth. Don't be one of these that just wants to live for the lie. Find the truth. The truth shall set you free. It all ties in. It all ties in. It's absolutely amazing when you find out how it all ties together. All right, I love you all. Take care.